Okay, so it's a very wet day here at Newland Hall Fishery, and basically I just wanted to do a quick video to show you what I do when I come to sort of smallish venues like this, and I don't want to bring loads of kit, but I still want to get bait out into the water. So I'm not bringing a spod rod with me or anything like that, but I am still spodding. And whilst this fish, I managed to get it in from the spot, and he's just plodding away right underneath the rod tip. But yeah, I'm just going to go through the sort of steps that I take when I'm only taking 2 rods with me, and I'm wanting to get bait out with the spod. There's a few things that you do need to do, a few things that you don't need to do, and you've got to make sure that you don't do to ensure that you can do it safely and effectively, and yeah, just get the most out of your day on the bank whilst you're taking a lot less kit with you. I haven't even seen this fish, he's just plodding about underneath me. I don't think he's massive, but he'll be welcome in this rain where I haven't put my jacket on, which is lovely. But yeah, a lot of these, he's a double figure, look like a mirror there. Yeah, a lot of these types of venues, you know, that are perhaps former match venues where the fish have got bigger, and now the match anglers don't really fish them, and it's more sort of carp / pleasure anglers. A lot of them don't see a lot of bait, and it can be an edge to use more bait than what everybody else does. There he is, popping up to the top. Yeah, a mirror, about 12 pounds, I'd say. In the net. Lovely job. Yeah, so a lot of people don't use that much bait on these venues. They'll throw a PVA bag out, maybe catapult some boilies out, but you don't see a lot of people spodding and that sort of stuff on these types of venues. I've not seen anyone spodding here. There's 3 or 4 other guys on, and no one's put a drop of bait out. A couple of recasts just with PVA bags. I've been putting bait out, and I've been catching over the top of it. So that's, I think, very important. Now I'm going to see if I can unhook him in the net. I've got a barbless hook on. So we'll see if we can just pop it out in the net and let this chap go. Oh. I think the hook has already fallen out in the net. That's the good thing with barbless there. So we'll get that out of the way, and we'll put him back. Okay, try and give you a little sight of him. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, nice mirror, about 10 or 11 pounds. Nothing monstrous, but that's not the point of today. It's just to get a bit of a bend in the rod. And yeah, this is the sort of place that a lot of people will be coming in the winter, where it's slightly easier to get a bite. And I do still think, even in the winter months, it's worth putting bait out. So yeah, the first thing that I'm going to do now is get some more bait out. So I'll just show you how I'm doing that. I'm using the lead clip on my normal fishing rod. Really, just the tubing's just come out of the tail rubber there, so I'm just putting it back in. So I've got my lead clip set up. This is one of the running safety clips. So actually there's a little plug that sits in there on the swivel, and then when you get a bite, that pulls out, and then that runs up the line like so, which is really safe, and also means that you don't lose your lead every time, and it's a much safer way of fishing a lead clip on venues where you don't need to be losing the lead. You know, there's no snags in here, there's no weed or anything like that, so you don't need to be dropping the lead. So a lot of lead clip setups, if you don't want to drop the lead, you really sort of force that tail rubber on, and then you could that could make it sort of show that you're not going to actually lose the lead at all in the event of a breakage, and then the fish might be trailing around a lead. So I like this sort of setup with the plug and the running clip for venues like this. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to take the rig off, which has got a little bunch of maggots on that I've been using on my Y-gape long shank hook there. So I'm going to unclip the rig from the little quick change swivel there. Just put that down by my rods, and then I'm going to pop the lead off of the... I'm not going to pop the lead off of the clip because I don't think I've put the line back in the clip. I'm going to cast back out to the spot first. So I'm trying to explain it to you in as quick a manner as possible, and I forgot the key element, which is clipping it back up. So I'll show you now. Oh, it was in the clip, how about that? So what I've done at the start of the session is I found where I wanted to fish, which is pretty much the middle of the lake out here. I found the spot that I wanted to fish, and I've put the line in the clip, and I've just found that spot by just casting out a few times with a bare lead. Not doing it on braid, we're not casting an awful long way, so I can feel the drop of the lead through the water to know what I'm fishing on. Again, there's no weed in this lake. It's not there's not lots and lots of features. You know, in these types of venues, you often find that they're quite flat, and then where you're baiting and how you're applying the bait, that is how you're sort of attracting the fish in, rather than being attracted to a specific feature. So I've cast out, I've found my spot, I've put the line in the clip on the reel, hooked it over onto the clip, and then I have marked where I'm fishing at the end of the rod, so just off from the rod tip, with 2 elastic markers. So that's just, if I've still got it in my pocket, which I do. So that's just that stuff, just marker elastic, and I've just put two knots there, and I do 2 rather than 1 because if you sort of see that one's further in front of the other, you know that one of them slipped. Generally they don't slip, but in case they do, I always like 2, so you know if that's actually happened or not. So I've done that, and I've got it in the clip. And on this venue, it's about 3 or 4 feet. So again, with venues that are less than 10 feet, you don't need to worry about the swing back of the lead, or where you clip up your spod rod in relation to your fishing rod, or where you clip up your spod in relation to where you're fishing, because with sort of shallow lakes like this, it really doesn't matter. So lead now comes off the lead clip, like so, and then I will go and grab my spod and my bucket of bait that the cameraman's camera was on. So I'm literally just going to clip the spod onto the lead clip like so, so I'm not breaking down any of my tackle. And now I'm going to put some bait out, and this is exactly what I did at the start of the session. Now, things to note when you're doing this: I've only got a 10-foot rod, but it is a 3.25 pound test curve rod. I wouldn't use a rod that's lighter than 3 pound test curve. I wouldn't spod on a carp rod if I'm going much further than, say, 50 yards. I wouldn't do it. So small venues this type of fishing's for. I wouldn't recommend doing it on bigger venues where you're casting longer distances. And with regards to the line, I'd use 8 18-pound line or above. So this is 18-pound extra set. You want to make sure that you're using strong line like that because you are going to be casting a spod, so it will be quite heavy, and you don't want to be risking either breaking your rod with a rod that's too soft or having a crack off with line that isn't strong enough. So I always try and fish as strong as I can get away with, and that's what I recommend with this. So yeah, I'm going to open it up. It is the medium impact spod. Again, I wouldn't use a large spod or a large spom. I'd use the sort of medium to smaller versions, and I found that for this type of thing, this small or medium rather impact spod is fine. And then my mix is today just maggots, sweet corn, and a boilie that's actually on test from CC Moore, so that's not out there, but it's quite a nice spicy bait. And then I'm just going to, just to top up the spot, I'm going to do 3 of these, and that should get me back in the game. Just make sure that the clutch is done up tight enough, because after I played that fish I could have loosened it off and then it'll slip and cut through your finger and stuff like that. You know, normally it's recommended that with spodding you use a finger stool, but if you're using thick mono like I am and you're not casting very far with a smaller spod and a softer rod, you don't need to use a finger stool because it's the same pressure as normal casting. You know, if I was using a braided shock leader, a proper spod rod, a big spod, and casting much further, then yes, absolutely you need a finger stool. But like I say, this video is all about showing you what you can get away with when you only bring 2 rods fishing with you. And venues like this, like I say, I don't think they see enough bait. I don't think they see a lot of bait. You could see from that carp there that I caught, it was quite empty, and you know, it's autumn now, the fish should be getting fat. So I think places like this, they're quite hungry. So like I say, putting bait out when other people aren't really can be effective. So I'm going to do 2 more because we're all getting absolutely soaked in this rain. It has been raining all day, and yeah, we've been waiting for a bite to do this little piece, and we had a bite earlier and it was absolutely hammering it down, so we didn't do it then. And this time we thought, no, we better do it in case we don't get another opportunity. But I think we will, because the fishing on here I think will get better as the day goes on, as more bait goes in. So that's 3 absolutely bang on the spot. And then now I'm just going to wind this back in, unclip it, put the lead back on, check the rig, because I haven't actually checked it yet. So again, lead spod just coming off, the leg clip, lead going back on to that running safety clip, and then check my rig. That hook is still very, very sharp. Maggots are still wriggling a little bit. So yeah, just got the quick change swivel and a loop. So just open that loop up onto the quick change swivel, tungsten anti-tangle sleeve down, and that's ready to go. And I can literally cast it straight back out. We're all still in the clip, everything's lined up, out to the spot, onto the clip. That's literally bang on where I've just put those 3 spods. Line out the clip, just get it on the bobbins, on the rod, on the Buzz bars. There we go. We're fishing again. Simple as that. Just thinking about the types of venues that you're fishing. If you're only taking a couple of rods with you, it doesn't mean that you can't put bait out with a spod into sort of the middle of the lake where you couldn't reach with baits like maggots or sweet corn with a catapult. You can still do it if you've got the right gear and just set yourself up in a way that you think, I'm gonna put some bait out with the spod today. I'm gonna gear up properly and hopefully catch some fish, and that's exactly what I've done. Hopefully that helps.